Welcome to the Youth Vision 2030 virtual conference, empowering youth through education, sports, and entrepreneurship. Today's conference is hosted by Stand for Africa and co-hosted by Power Hands with the participation of the Coaches of Influence Foundation. My name is Marguerite and I am your moderator. I am a social entrepreneur and a host of my bilingual podcast, A No Wind, Un Vent Nouveau in French. I have I assist diasporans to invest and repatriate in Africa, and I have two master's degree, one in international relations and another one in management and development, one from a French university and another one from Senegal. I'm humbled to be a member of Stand for Africa and to be part of this conversation. Let's dive right into the subject. We have 8 exceptional panelists today and elites entrepreneurs from different industries, but all sharing their passion to stand for Africa. I'll start by thanking Mr. Roger Boissy for his passion and energy and the vision that he tirelessly works to promote our communities. Mr. Boissy is a change maker, and his initiative to bring together diasporans is simply remarkable. I'd like to introduce our host and introduce next the ambassador of the Republic of Gambia, and next introduce our co-host, Ms. Jones. So, Mr. Boissy is a financial engineer and international consultant in business, development, and international affairs. Mr. Boissy has obtained a master's degree in finance in Morocco and has studied political science in the States. He is the president and CEO of GAP Consulting, a company that focuses on international business development. He's also the current chairman of the Texas West African Chamber of Commerce, and he is also the founder of the organization Stand for Africa. Roger is also part of Power Hand and Power to Give Foundation. Welcome, Roger. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm great. Good morning, everybody. Thanks to everyone who joined us this evening for this very important event. I would like to thank the ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia. Your Excellency, thank you so much for honoring us with your presence despite your busy schedule. We truly, truly appreciate it. I would also like to thank the person without whom this event wouldn't be possible today. And that person is Danielle Jones. Danielle, thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for being an inspiration and for sharing your gift with the entire world. I truly appreciate collaborating with you and working also under your leadership. And I don't want to forget Dr. Margaret Ellis. So wherever you are, I just want you to know that we appreciate you for your collaboration as well, for all the good ideas that you brought in the table in order to make this event successful. So lastly, I would like to acknowledge our special guest, Abdul Nader, who's supposed to be here in a few minutes, but also my brother, my friend, my advisor, if I can call him like that, Boniface Dong. I really appreciate you, brother, for your guidance, for your availability, for always being there for Stand for Africa, and for being willing to give your best to the organization. We also have among our speakers, Charles Beaufort from Coaches of Influence, who's going to be speaking in a few minutes. My other friends, Rory Lumbala from Canada, and also Mr. Mazda Denon from the city of Houston. So overall, I just want to thank everybody for attending this event.
Thank you so much. And it is my ultimate honor to introduce Your Excellency Dauda Federa. He's a current Gambian ambassador to the United States. Prior to his appointment, he was Secretary General and head of the Civil Service and Permanent Secretary at the Personal Management Office. That was in 2009. He's also a Deputy Secretary from 2004 to 2009. He has been the Principal Assistant Secretary from 2000 to 2004. Mr. Federa has a master's degree in Human Resources Management from the University of Derby in the United Kingdom. He has a postgraduate diploma in management from the Mediterranean Institute in Cyprus, and also a bachelor's degree in history and political science from the University of Sierra Leone. Welcome, your ambassador. How are you doing today?
on mute. Thank you very much. It's great to be here with all of you. Good afternoon to all those on the call.
Good afternoon, young Ambassador. It is our ultimate pleasure to have you here today. And thank you for honoring us with your presence.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the kind introduction.
You're most welcome. And I'll go next and introduce our co-host, Miss Daniel Jones. She's a phenomenal woman who I had learned to appreciate a lot recently. She's an entrepreneur, a vision chaser, a business strategist, and philanthropist who has more than 2 decades of executive leadership. She's the founder and the principal business strategist of Daniel Sovereignty Jones Consulting and the co-founder and chief executive officer of Power Hands and the president of Power to Give Foundation. She has 2 master's degrees, one MBA from Florida International University, and another one from Wharton School of Business in Marketing Leadership Program. Welcome, Ms. Jones. How are you today?
Hi, I am wonderful. How are all of you? Such a pleasure to join you. Thank you so much for this moment.
You are most welcome. And I will go next and introduce another admirable panelist, Mr. Mazda Dinan. He has been a global trade manager at the City of Houston Mayor's Office since 2020. Prior to his appointment, he was the Global Engagement Manager and Special Advisor on African Affairs. Most of his career with the City of Houston started in 2013. He has progressively occupied different positions within the Mayor's Office in the Department of International Affairs, Trade, Development, Protocol as well. Thank you so much for being here today, Mr. Dinan. How are you? Unfortunately, I think you are on mute. We cannot hear you.
Can y'all hear me now?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing great, sir. How are you?
I can't complain. Thank you.
Very nice. And I would also like to welcome our special guest, and I don't think he has jumped in yet. And we can just move to, I would like to introduce this time, he's the assistant coach of the Denver Nuggets since 2020, and also he's a coach of the Senegalese national basketball team. Mr. Ndong has retired from professional basketball in 2013. Prior to that, he had had a very full career working and playing with the European leagues. I'm going to name a few: the FC Barcelona, the Regal Barcelona. He had also worked for, I believe, a Russian basketball team. And I have here another European team that he had worked for. Oh my God, this name is hard for me. Bundesliga, I believe. And overall, Mr. Ndong also played professional basketball with the NBA, with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Back in 2007, he also helped the Senegalese team, win a silver medal from the African Football Federation competitions as well. Welcome, Mr. Ndong. How are you today? Hello, Boniface? Oh, all right. He fell off. Sorry about that. Oh, right. There he comes. Boniface, you are muted. We cannot hear you yet. I can see the mute sign. Can you unmute, please? I will just give it another moment. Mr. Boniface, can you hear me? If you can hear me, I cannot hear you. Your screen is frozen again. Okay, we'll give him a moment. And I'll go next and introduce Mr. Rolly Lumbala. He is a Canadian football player, a fullback, and he has been working with the BC Lions since 2008. He has an 11 years career with them, and he was also invited to play with the Miami Dolphins in the National Football League, the NFL. He in college he played professional, and he went to school for sports and majored. He had majored in sports science in Idaho. He was also a basketball player in high school, and he's the founder of Lumbala Strong, teaching and coaching children on how to play basketball. Thank you so much for being here. And how are you today, Mr. Lumbala? Can you hear me?
I think he's frozen as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
Yep, go to
I'm going to move
Charles.
on to Charles, and it is a pleasure to introduce you, Mr. Beaufort. You are a speaker and author and the founder and CEO of BoMed Consultants LLC since March 2015, located in Dallas. His company provides marketing, consulting, strategy, planning solutions to businesses. Mr. Beaufort has worked in a variety of industries and helping different businesses increase their revenues. He is also the going to go on to his educational background. He has a bachelor's degree from the University of Houston. He's the founder of the Coaches of Influence Foundation that focuses on personal development. He's also the vice president of Start Script Pharmacy. He has been CEO in pharmaceutical industry as well. Welcome, Mr. Beaufort. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much. Slight correction. Dr. Margaret Ellis is the founder of Coaches of Influence Foundation. I'm just the chairman of the board, but it's so great to be a part of this great venue. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Margaret, excuse me for interrupting. The ambassador has another commitment,
Okay.
so you have to leave. So have him give his
Absolutely.
remark.
We've made the presentation for everyone present today, Mr. Ambassador. The floor is yours.
Can you
Yes.
hear me? Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me place on record my sincere gratitude to Power Hands and Stand for Africa, the leadership and members, for inviting me this afternoon to share a few remarks with this phenomenal global group of young Africans who are participating in this special event from various locations across the world. I thank you, all of you, for being here. I am indeed deeply honored and proud to be associated with this historic event. That is the formal launching of an important partnership between Power Hands and Stand for Africa. I know you are two separate, distinguished organizations, but I believe you share similar, if not the same, objectives for our continent, Africa. I know you all want to see a free, stable, secured, inclusive, and prosperous Africa, among other things. These are important values that need to go beyond merely aspirational for African people. So I'm really inspired And also, I believe this partnership is going to put us in the right direction. We need more of this kind of partnership up and down the continent for the development of Africa. This is important. And I believe this today is taking us one step closer to the creation of the kind of Africa we want for ourselves. But for us to accelerate this process, it is important that the critical and innovative role of the young people up and down the continent goes beyond symbolism. I have no doubt that the young people of Africa can and must help build the necessary accountabilities in the continent for true economic transformation that will leave no one behind, and also to ensure that we have credible representations and create a public and private sectors that deliver excellence to our people and integrity for Africa. These are things we can do. They are doable. But we need to, as a continent, massively invest in our massive youthful population so as to be able to harness the demographic dividends that we are blessed with. We must not allow it to become a ticking time bomb. And since the young people in Africa are the most affected by the poor policy choices, it is important as the backbone of the future of the continent and as change agents, you must no longer stand on the sidelines. But it's important to prepare the African youth and get you ready to assume the critical leadership roles that you deserve. This will not drop from the sky. This is why, for us in the Gambia, the government has made provision of relevant education as a top priority in the National Development Plan. And that plan seeks to reform the curriculum, and the focus is going to be on science and technology, vocational and technical skill development, policy management, entrepreneurship, and of course we are trying to mainstream sporting as one of the main components of socio-economic development of our people, and to ensure that all the youths are active and healthy, because we need a healthy population to move Africa forward. So these skills, these are all part of critical arsenals in our toolbox that we need to utilize to build the qualitative human capital base of Africa, so that Africa will rise and continue to rise faster, and we'll be able to take our rightful position in the world as it should be. So today, I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and this gives me hope that really we are on the right track, because people can help, but the onus of moving Africa to the level we want it to be lies on Africans themselves, particularly the youth. So this kind of conference, I think, is important, and I hope this will be replicated, and we'll get more organizations to come together and form a common front so that we fight poverty, illiteracy, and other illnesses that really kind of deter our development. So with those few remarks, I wish to thank you once again for the floor. And I'm sorry that I have to leave a bit early, because I think the timing has not been properly communicated. I was working on the Eastern Standard Time. On the whole, this is central timing. So that causes this kind of confusion. But all the same, this is a big pleasure for me. And I thank you all. And I'm happy that my brothers from the Gambia are also on this call. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Your Excellence. And I'll go next and ask a few questions to Ms. Jones. Would you please tell us a little bit about your foundation, Power to Give, and your role with Power Hands? Ms. Jones?
He's on mute. He's on
She
mute.
has been muted. Ms. Jones, we cannot hear you.
Daniel, you're on mute.
Yeah, let's move on, Roger. Roger, I have a question for you here. Why did you create Stand for Africa? What are the main goals and what are you really looking to achieve with Stand for Africa?
Thank you so much for that question, Margaret. I think it's a very important question. So Stand for Africa is a nonprofit organization that we launched in 2019. And that was right before the pandemic, unfortunately. And ever since then, we haven't been able to do much because everything was shut down. We haven't been able to host any event, any activity. So this is our very first conference, international conference. And we are very blessed to have all these panelists that we have today. So Stand for Africa, like I said again, is a nonprofit organization that aims to bridge gaps between Africans, the African Americans, and also the Caribbean. So the organization is mainly focused on the youth. So we would like to help young athletes, young entrepreneurs, but also students. So when it comes to young entrepreneurs or young athletes, Stand for Africa would like to empower them with purpose, skills, but also financial assistance. Of course, through potential donations that we expect to be receiving from organizations and people who would like to support the initiative. Because we understand how important it is to mentor the youth, both in life and in sports. And we understand also that there are a lot of youth in Africa that are super talented, but unfortunately, they don't have the chances. They don't have the tools they need. They don't have the right mentorship to be able to succeed and see the dream come true. We would also like to help the young entrepreneurs by facilitating access to resources. If you guys have noticed, entrepreneurship has been a huge thing in Africa nowadays. So we have a lot of young Africans who are developing amazing projects. But unfortunately, just like anywhere in the world, but mostly in Africa, it is really, really hard for people to have access to resources. So that is one of the things that we would like to do, using our network, using all the people that we believe are successful enough to bring their contribution so we can help those youth. It's all about solidarity. It's all about empowering each other, helping each other. That is the philosophy that we try to implement. And we are calling on everybody, every Africans American, wherever you are, we would like for you to come and join the organization so we can work together in order to empower the youth. Thank you so much.
Those are really powerful words. They're powerful. Thank you so much, Roger. Mr. John, sorry today, and I have a couple questions for you just to get started. Would you please tell us a bit about your foundation, Power to Give, and also explain your role with Power Hands, please?
Absolutely. So Danielle Serency Jones, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Power Hands and the president of the Power to Give Foundation. And, we started Power Hands 6 years ago with one vision and one mission that has quickly scaled, right, to be a global athletic training and rehabilitation product tech company where we create innovation that helps overall human performance. And what I feel so humbled and blessed by is we started with this one vision and one mission, and we had no clue that we were going to be able to scale internationally. And to date, we've been able to sell in over 86 countries, and Africa, of course, being one that we want to be very intentional about our strategy. Another thing that we did know when we started the company is we felt very strong about the fact that we did not have to choose between making a profit for the company and starting innovation that would impact the world and doing good. So day one, we started our Power to Give Foundation. My co-founder and myself, we come from very humble beginnings. If it wasn't for, our single mothers, our community, our parents, our church, Boys and Girls Club, we would not be the people that we are today. So when we started the company, we said every single year we're going to create a mission where we make sure that no child is left behind with benefiting from the lifelong lessons that they can get from sports coupled with academics. And so when Roger introduced me to Stand for Africa, this was the perfect combination and collaboration for us to have, because the mission of making sure that not only no community and no child is left behind, that is a global mission. And we are determined to make sure that in Africa that we bridge the knowledge about sports, about being an entrepreneur, as well as making sure that, there are resources that we are able to connect and tap into that area for every single youth so that they have a fair opportunity to do better than we are today. So that's why I'm so proud to be a part of this mission and to have an intentional strategy of creating an ecosystem in Africa for Power Hands, Power to Give, along with Stand for Africa.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. And this is definitely something as an African I can appreciate. And leaders like you, companies like yours are truly inspirational, and having you on the continent is definitely going to make a difference, and a big difference in our communities. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
And going next to Boniface Ndong, it's wonderful to have you here today. How are you?
Thank you. Very good. I'm good. And sorry, I had some problem from connections.
It's all right. It happens, It's technology. Who matches it? No one does, really.
Yeah, I just got in Senegal this morning, so I don't have so good connection right now. I'm in a small town, so it doesn't work so good.
What town are you in?
I'm in Point Saren, about an hour and a half south of Dakar.
It's a beautiful place to be. It's very
Yes, it's
has
actually
ocean and all that. Lucky you, lucky
right.
you.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Wonderful, wonderful. And can you please
Yeah,
tell us how did you come into sport?
exactly. So, listening to Roger and Miss Jones, I think it's almost my perfect story, right? Because somebody gave me the opportunity, right? I'm sitting right now in a small fishing village, of 10,000 people that has no basketball court, and so somebody gave me the opportunity to make it to the highest level, right? I missed a little bit my introduction, but I played in 5 different countries, Germany, France, Spain, Turkey, the US, and made a living, because somebody gave me the opportunity. Even today, as I work for the Denver Nuggets, because somebody made a call because he saw me 15 years ago in a camp here in Senegal and asked me if I was interested, to go and work to the US. So uh, this project, Power Hand and Stand for Africa, I think is the perfect fit, to what happened to me, what happened to a couple of Senegalese or a couple of African, that could be maybe multiplied by many times, because like Roger said, we have a lot of talent in Africa, but all that talent is maybe hidden somewhere or never had a chance to shine. Why? Because we like internet, for example, to live stream, we like people to come here and see the potential we have. So I think these two type of organization are the perfect fit, to keep giving this chance, because I think anybody who is talented, anybody who is intelligent has to have at least a shot, because we know, like the ambassador said, that we don't have all those chances right here in Africa, because you might be the most talented basketball player, but you can maybe not develop because, for example, my town had no basketball court. So I had to play soccer, but at 6'11", it's almost impossible, to be a soccer player. So one very, very high level African person is called Amadou Fall, who worked for the NBA. He was the president of NBA Africa, gave me the chance. Actually, he was supposed to be in this call, but his time is very tight. So he's the person who gave me the opportunity, and today keep helping me. So thank you for what you're doing. I'm very, very happy to participate. I was also named the Senegalese national team coach, from this year, and I'm a exploit, and call up on you guys, and talk about you guys any way I can, because what you're doing, I hope gonna give many, many people the same chance that I had.
That's wonderful. What we are doing it. All of us. It's beautiful
Right.
of you. It's beautiful. And I have a question for Mr. Dinan. And um, what are the main difficulties that entrepreneurs will encounter in their journey?
So Denon is supposed to give a remarks on behalf of the City of Houston.
Right. I apologize for that. Did we lose him? Yes, we did, I think.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Is he on?
Wait, yes, please,
While
Mr.
jumping back on, absolutely. I will. I will take that because I can't wait to hear his remarks. And this, just seeing the dialogue, right, and everyone with a unified mission is so huge. And I'm going to continue on that theme of opportunity, right? I truly believe that all entrepreneurs just need access to opportunity. We as individuals are brilliant, creative minds. And once we have the access to opportunity to allow that creativity to expand and then to function in a business framework, then that's what truly creates the excellence and the brilliance. So most entrepreneurs, there are a couple of challenges that they face. I don't believe there's an issue with creating an idea. The issue is stabilizing and scaling, right? And so that's the first challenge. The second, within the stabilizing, truly comes funding. Most entrepreneurs don't know where to go to get funding to expand their idea. You could bootstrap and use your own funding. You can go to friends and family, but depending upon the business structure, especially when you get into scalable consumer goods products that are high end and tech, you're probably going to need to inject funding into your business in order to stabilize and scale. Most people with our skin color and background, we don't come from privilege or pedigree. So we don't have family trusts that we can access in order to inject that funding or capital, right, into our business. So it is so very important for us to be able to link in the US, in Africa in the US, those brilliant ideas so they're able to expand and get off the ground. And then the next, when we talk about scaling, right, typically you get your funding and then boom, you're able to use your marketing, your operations, and you want to scale and create an omni-channel. Well, most entrepreneurs don't understand how you get into e-commerce platforms like a Jumia, who Roger and I are working with, and we can't wait to launch Power Hands into Africa through this Amazon-like e-commerce platforms that services Africa. Most entrepreneurs don't understand that you can create your own store through Shopify, and you can create your own channels, of course, through advertising where you can sell to multiple countries and scale on your own. And then once you watch your analytics, you're then able to put distribution models in place so that your customers can get and benefit from your innovation quicker. So those are the three things, right? The ideas, the being able to stabilize due to funding and lack of funding resources, and being able to scale because of the information is unknown as to the omni channels that you can partner with.
Thank you so much for those responses. And it's indeed, it's kind of, I'm an entrepreneur too. And I guess when you get a certain stage of your business and activities, knowledge, skills, fundings, all those are critical components that will help any entrepreneur move forward, move to the next step. Thank you so much for those responses. And I have another question here. Before Roger, I know you are the host, and I'm just going to jump right really quick with Mr. Ndong and ask him a second question, because I see his connection has not been stable. And what is the wisdom, Mr. Ndong? What is the wisdom that drives your success? You are muted.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I mean hard work. As African, when we are given a chance, we always have to be the best. Because we are stigmatized. So, like one of my American friends told me in Europe, Boniface, if they had people like us, they would not call us. So we are here to be the best. So as any African, the drive have to be always try to be the best. You don't want to be like them, because if you are like them, then they will choose them instead of you. So whatever they do 2 times, try to do it 4 times. This is the goal. And I was fortunate, to have a father, that taught me right away. From the day I was born. When I was 7 years old, he told me, Boniface, when the sun set before you, you're always late. I didn't know what he was talking about. What he meant was, a man, to be successful, you have to work whatever you're doing. I learned that working in the farm. I learned like fishing. And then is when I got to the basketball field that I realized actually what he was talking about. That if I want to make it as a European, as an African in Europe, or as an African in the United States, I have to be the best, So hard work, of course, with everything that goes together, education, wisdom, will always help you to succeed. So when I talk to the African kids, that I do in my camps, what I tell them is, first, try to be the best in school, right? Because school will give you the opportunity maybe to go to the States, or when you move to Europe, it will always give you an edge, that training your brain in school will help you in sport, will help you in whatever you do. So as African, whatever we do, we have to try to be the best. Why? Because we already lost from the start, because we are stigmatized that we are not the best. So we always have to work hard anytime.
That is so true. That is so true. I think any one of us can speak about being stigmatized. It's a reality. And
yes, but we have to take it as a challenge, because if you take it as something that is unfair, you're wasting your time. Like I said, we are the one to move to those countries. We're the one who went to look for something. So when you go to research, you have to accept, that maybe it's not because they mean it, because it's ignorance, because how many of them had the chance to come and see, the beautiful Point Sareng you're talking about? Only me, so we have values that wherever we are in the world, we can cherish and use them to help us to be successful.
Yeah. And if I can add to that, I love Boniface. I love that statement, because a lot of times when we allow the stereotypes and stigmatisms to bother us, it's because of ego, right? But when we're focused on the mission, it's not about ego. The mission is giving our talent to others because God gave us our talent, right? And so if we're focused on making sure that we deliver that mission to everyone that we touch, someone else who comes against us and doesn't believe in us, that doesn't matter, because we're comfortable in our own brilliance. We're comfortable in our talent. And frankly, to be transparent, you just become comfortable with the uncomfortable and you push forward. You don't even allow those things to bother you anymore because we know there exist and there are barriers that we have to break through. But that's what helps me. When I walk in a room and anytime I feel like I'm going to be judged or be in an uncomfortable position, I remind myself why I'm here. And it is to serve the purpose of the mission.
Right.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I'll use it more often. And well, this kind of self-confidence is also it takes time and years to work on. It's also a part of personal development as well. Thank you so much for those words. And I'll ask a few questions to Roger Boissy now. And Roger, why is in Africa nowadays, it's like almost like a trend. Everyone is talking about entrepreneurship. Why now? Why so much recently? You are muted. Sorry.
Can you hear me now? All right. So first of all, I know Danielle has mentioned about Power Hands and Jumia. So I just want everybody that's watching to know that we are working on a great partnership with Jumia. And soon we're going to be launching in Africa. So everybody should be ready for Power Hands Africa. So to answer your question, it is a very important question. Just like I said in the beginning, entrepreneurship is, if I can say it like that, is going viral in Africa. So it's like everybody is becoming entrepreneurs. We still have some obstacles that we still have to fix. So hopefully with our nonprofit organization, with the collaboration of Power to Give Foundation, Power Hands, people like Boniface, Gallo, NBA Africa, and all of the people that we're calling to join the initiative, we'll be able to create a huge impact. So why is entrepreneurship a thing right now in Africa? Because there is one explanation: unemployment. So unemployment rate is really, really high in Africa. So if you are in a country where people can have a job, they can go attend universities, have the diplomas. So you can see someone who has a PhD in Africa and still don't have a job. So that is a problem in Africa. So what will be the solution? So I think the youth have come into realization to realize that entrepreneurship might be the solution. They start thinking about ways to help them get out of the situation where they are right now by looking at how they can improve their communities, how they can develop a country that can fulfill a need, what they can do to create impact in Africa. And that is leading them into being entrepreneurs, developing projects, having business plans, and everything that goes with the market study and everything in order to become entrepreneurs. But yet again, the problem is access to resources, access to funding. So to answer your question.
Thank you so much for the answer. And we have our guest of honor today. He's just made it in, Mr. Abdel Nader. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to give you a couple minutes to introduce you. Just a few short introduction, maybe not so long. Mr. Nader is an Egyptian American professional NBA player for the Oklahoma City Thunder presently, and he has been with them since 2018. He made his leader at Iowa State University. He played college basketball for the Northern Illinois Huskies and the Iowa State Cyclones before joining in October 2016 the Maine Red Claws, who he played with up until 2017. So I see here that he had back in 2017 signed a contract with the Bolton Celtics, who he had played with until 2018, and now he's working with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You have quite an impressive background, Mr. Nader. It is a privilege to have you here today, and I'd like to just name that you had been You were named back in 2016 the NBA Rookie of the Year, and that was quite an honor. And that you were like the third Red Claw player to earn that honor. Thank you so much for being here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay. No, thanks for having me, guys, and I appreciate that intro. It was very generous. But yeah, I'm excited to answer some questions you guys have for me and let you guys get to know me a little better.
All right, absolutely. I have one for you right now. And what can you tell us? When did you know it was that basketball would be your career?
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
When
I'm
did you
having some.
know? When did you know you would play basketball as a
Oh,
professional?
to be honest, I never really knew. So I moved to America when I was around like 11, and I never really knew I was gonna be interested in basketball. I honestly was playing like soccer in Egypt a lot, and it was coming to America was a culture shock. So basketball was actually a way for me to like integrate with like society better and make friends and understand like just, and it helped me learn English to like just being like a normal kid more. And then in the process, I kind of fell in love with the game, and I ended up just getting better and better. And then I think it became a reality to me when I was in high school that I could possibly play in the NBA one day.
Okay, so what would you like to share with the younger generations, the one who are looking to make it through life, for example?
I would just tell them to be open to all the opportunities that are in front of them. Never be closed-minded to different things that you might think you're not interested in and stuff like that. Because I would never thought I would have played basketball, and I ended up doing. That's exactly what I ended up doing. Fast forward when I come here from Egypt, so just keep your doors open and always just keep moving forward. Don't get discouraged by anything that could slow you down or any obstacles that pop up in your way.
Well, that's a beautiful message. Thank you so much. And one last, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Ian, how invested are you giving back to the community?
You know, I'm that's like one of the things. So I look at life like I've been blessed with so many things and so many different opportunities that I just want to be able to give similar opportunities like that to especially like the youth and younger generations. And unfortunately, this summer I was supposed to go back and do a bunch of stuff in the Egyptian hospitals and a bunch of camps in Chicago for the youth and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll be able to get that stuff going again. But I'm completely invested in doing stuff like that. It's probably my greatest passion, honestly, even above basketball, is just being able to help others.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for those words. It's really,
Margaret, can I ask him a quick
of course,
question?
please.
Hey,
Hi, how
hello.
you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you. And I love for Boniface to interact as well. But you know, your social media, obviously, you have like tons of youth and people from Egypt that follow you, and you inspire them every single day.
Yeah.
The simple question is, how does that make you feel? And what responsibility do you have when it comes to making sure that they understand the work that you put in and how they inspire you? What's the responsibility back to them?
So, you know, and we've talked about this before, you and I, and it you know, before like maybe a year ago, I didn't even realize the true impact I had on in Egypt and how, because I hadn't been back in so long and really wasn't probably doing my best at communicating with that audience. and just going forward in my career and learning more on and off the court about just life in general. I'm learning that I do have an effect on a lot of people, and just learning different ways to I would say attack that, and find ways that I can help, creatively, and because you can always throw money at a situation and try to make it better, but I think it's like more, how can I spend time with people? How can I interact with people? How can I like pass on the experiences that I've experienced with others? And I think that's how you could really benefit people.
I have one
Love that.
question, if you don't mind.
Please
Of
go
course.
ahead.
Hi, yes, hi Abdel.
Hey, how
Do
you
you plan
doing?
to? I'm pretty good, thanks. Do you plan to play for the Egyptian national team? I mean, not that I'm
I
worried that you might beat us, but I think it would be really great, impact.
this summer I won't. Just because
Okay,
with the or this off season I won't, just because with the NBA being up in the air about when they're gonna start, and there's
right.
just too many unknowns. It doesn't make sense. So me and my team decided not to play this off season, but I will be playing in the future. So you count on that.
Okay, thank you. I keep my note and good luck.
Thanks, man. You too.
And
Thank you.
Boniface, thank you so much for being here, Mr. Nader. I know your time
No,
is
thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
absolutely.
Sorry I was a little late, guys.
It's a pleasure.
No, you're right on time.
Perfect.
All right. I think I'll go back to Boniface. Would you please answer to this question? Because I feel like it'll be very appropriate. And you mentioned earlier how in Point Saran there are no basketball courts, and the importance of giving opportunities to the youth. How invested are you in giving back to the community? You are muted. I cannot hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes. Now, no, I said there was not a basketball court, but since 2013, I've built one. So I've been organizing basketball camp. So the person who really taught me basketball in Germany is the same German coach who taught Dirk Nowitzki, is one of the greatest players of all time, the best German player of all time. So every summer he's coming here in my town, bring some German kids, and help me kind of run camps, for the youth. But what I do is I don't only run basketball. So my camp go between 4 to 5 days, and I dedicate always the first day to education. Like I invite the teachers. For example, I invite people from the city hall to come and advise people about why it's so important to have paper, because I'm going to give you one anecdote. 3 years ago we had a chance to bring a youth team, like a 14-year under 14 team, to France. But one kid that his father passed away a couple of years ago, didn't do a death certificate. So when we went to the embassy, they asked him, the parent had to sign. He said, "Yeah, my father passed away." They asked him, "What is the certificate?" He didn't have one, and because of that reason, that kid didn't travel. And it was the chance of his life. And so I had to, call people from the city hall that do, birth certificate, death certificate, all that, to explain them. So I'm not only invested in basketball. I'm invested in life. Why? Because even at the junior level, not even 1% make it to the high level. So I put together basketball as another way of education. So I'm very glad, and I want to make people keep dreaming. That they have to do what they love, that is basketball, but they have to hear the message too, that most of them are not going to be professional basketball players, but there can be something maybe not as important as basketball player, but they can be people that are necessary in life and that can do great things, that is not only basketball.
That is extremely important as well. It is, and like you said, not everyone can make it professional, and being able to adjust to another opportunity is indeed very important. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And Miss Jones, I'd like to hear your thoughts about um, how, for example, any recommendations that you have to entrepreneurs that might be afraid of getting started in creating their own ventures.
Yeah. Don't allow your fear to stop you from starting. That's the first thing, right? You know, we've got to be bold and courageous. And I think in the midst of all the chaos in the current climate right now, I really hope that it is strengthening us to move beyond our fear, right? Because for me, as a businesswoman and an entrepreneur, it has. I've been more bold in this season than I ever thought I could be in a crisis. I truly understand my strengths. So the first bit of advice is, you know, do not allow your fear to stop you from starting. That is definitely it. Secondly is, you know, fear, allow it to motivate you. I think fear can sometimes be good. I think of being a little anxious about things can sometimes be good because that drives me into my excellence, right? When I don't have that fear, when I'm not anxious about creating innovation, making sure that I am taking care of my customers or expanding, then I become complacent. So a little bit of fear and a little bit of being anxious is okay, right? And then the next thing is, you know, fear sometimes happens, I feel also when we don't plan, right? And so a lot of entrepreneurs want to start like we did. I told you our one vision and our one mission when we started 6 years ago was how do we create innovative patented products in the basketball market? And we didn't know we were going to be global. We didn't know we would scale to 5 different sports. Planning is so essential. And we had a business plan, but planning will help alleviate your fear because the more you can dot your I's and cross your T's and see the vision from a longer term perspective than the now, then it will help you with overcoming some of those things that are the unknowns, which is really what fear is. So that would be my advice for them. Oh, and get a good team. Get people that whisper in your ear positive things on those moments when you're afraid. Get you a cheerleader. We have to be our biggest cheerleader, but make sure your advisory team around you is cheering so hard for you that you can't hear those negative thoughts.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Those were very important uh, concepts, really. And Roger, what do you think? What are your thoughts about entrepreneurs who are fearful of getting started? What would you recommend?
Well, I think we have a lot of those in Africa. One of the main issue that I've noticed from the youth is a lack of confidence. And I always say that sometimes you just got to be bold, just like Daniel just said it. You just got to trust, believe in yourself, believe that you can make it happen and start somewhere. So the other thing, there is also an obstacle for the young entrepreneurs, the youth in Africa, is most of them, they have this mentality that make them believe that the government has to do everything for them. It's not going to happen. You know, it is true. One of the mission of the government is to provide jobs to the people, but the government can do everything for everybody. It's not possible. So they need to understand that. So they shouldn't be waiting for the government. They should be looking for ways to build a project and invest themselves, educate themselves, invest into themselves. That's very important. And one of the thing also that there is a problem for the youth in Africa. I've seen a lot of youth that kind of have, that underestimate certain jobs. They feel like they're too good for certain jobs. Like you don't have a job and you're trying to be picky. Come on. I mean, you have to start somewhere, use the money, try to save somewhere. I mean, the money that you have and invest into your education, into yourself, and think about a project that you can come up with, you know, build your business plan and start searching, looking for funding. That is something that is important, that we try to have the youth to have that mindset and start working on that.
Absolutely. And I'd like to hear your thoughts too. Thank you, Roger. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Ms. Ndong. What do you think about that? I think it's also an area that does not only concern entrepreneurs, but also
Yeah.
in content.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think Miss John said it. You have to have a plan. You know, uh, in Africa, you see a lot of people, they like to start something, right? But there's nothing easy in life. So, and you're never gonna be prepared enough. For a new project or new goals. So educate yourself. That's why I insist a lot of education, because when you educate it, life become a lot easier. So my first country after Senegal was Germany. Just imagine, nobody speak French, nobody speak Wolof. I didn't speak a word German. So what did help me? English. Coming from Senegal, if I didn't work hard in English, if I didn't go to school, maybe I would have not stayed in Germany. So what I advise to all young African, whatever you do, whatever you plan to do in life, start with education. Give yourself a chance to be educated. Why? Because when the opportunity happens, you will be ready. And then once you are ready for any opportunity, any challenge, any internship, you have to have a business plan. You have to have the right people around you, like Ms. John says, the people who are going to tell you the hard question, ask you the hard question, ask you the things that are going to make you fail. Because we are almost planned to fail, but we need to work harder than everybody else. So those are the points that I'm very focused on. I'm sometimes even afraid to talk about basketball, because I don't want to give the wrong message. Because at the end of the day, like less than 1% gonna end up being basketball professional players. So have a plan, educate yourself, and you will give yourself a bigger chance in life.
Those are truly important aspects. Education is definitely very important. And at any time, any age, you need to learn something. If you want to move from where you're at to the next level, education is an important part of it. Thank you so much. And I have here one question, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, Roger, as well. And Danielle, please, if you can go next after Roger. What are the pitfalls to avoid when you start a venture? What are the do not do things, for example?
Is that a question for Daniel?
Sorry, both of you. Roger, can you go first,
Okay,
please?
I'm gonna get Daniel go first.
Oh, please, Danielle.
He's more
Really?
experienced.
This is gentleman.
So, so the question is, what are the pitfalls?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer it this way. The first thing that you have to understand is there will be pitfalls. I don't want anyone, right? I don't care what country you're in, to think the journey of being an entrepreneur, going from a solopreneur to a business owner, right? And then an organization or corporation is easy. There are going to be so many pitfalls. And if you encounter 100 pitfalls, right, you will then encounter your first win, right? So 100 no's leads to your one yes. And you have to have the mindset and the resilience to understand that. So that is the very first thing. I am smiling. We've been on this journey for 6 years, but know that any business owner from a Fortune 500 company where you will see their stock is worth billions of dollars down to someone who is on this journey for the first day, you will encounter many pitfalls. Okay, that's number one. The second really comes with planning, right? Pitfalls are based on unknowns. Some unknowns we can control, and some unknowns we can't control. So when you're going back to your business plan and you're looking at how do I create this idea? How do I then turn it into a business, and then how do I scale? You want to make sure you address all of your red flags up front first before you even start thinking about all of the glorious things that could take place when you're launching your business. Your red flags are the things that you have to address and make sure you have a plan of attack. So making sure you are on top of your competition and addressing that. Understanding how you're going to scale through funding. Understanding how your business is going to operate with excellence, right? What's your human capital going to look like? All of those things are red flags that make businesses permanently fail. So address your red flags first, right? And make sure that those are connected to a plan. And then make sure you're able, the last thing that I would say is every plan has a pivot. Every plan has a pivot. So that means you have plan A, contingency plan B, and then contingency plan C. So make sure that you are ready to pivot your strategies, such as to adapt to COVID, such as to adapt to I'm now in retail and I have this huge order. How do I fulfill it? Such as I've lost my only employee. What am I going to do? Right? The pivots, addressing the pivots in the plan are important.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That is extremely valuable. That is so valuable.
So
Roger,
Margaret,
I'm sure you can add more value than I just did.
okay, so Danielle just said something that's really important. I think she was more technical. So my answer would be based on my experience. So I just want to say that if you know, I've worked for a few companies, French companies and American companies. And when I realized that I wanted to become an entrepreneur and my own consulting company, I had an objective in my mind. I was going for long term because I knew it wasn't going to happen over time. So I've set up my mind to where I should be patient, and I know it's going to take time, hard work, and dedication. But I had a long-term vision, because to me the most important thing was to build a reputation. And I believe that today I can stand up board and say that our cabinet has a good reputation because we've hosted a few trade missions where we invited delegations from Africa, chambers of commerce, personalities, government officials to come to Houston and meet with their counterparts in the United States for partnership opportunities, joint venture investment opportunities, and so on, right? But like I said again, the main thing for me was to have a good reputation. And I like to take the example of Jeff Bezos. That's how he built Amazon. He built it on a long-term, vision. And today, Amazon is one of the biggest, the giant in the world. So that is something that the youth need to know and have a long-term vision and be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not like because you're an entrepreneur today and tomorrow you're going to start making money. No, some companies, they lose a lot of money for years until they start making actually profit. So just to add on to what Daniel just said.
All right, and thank you so much, Roger. Mr. Beaufort, we were just discussing about what are the pitfalls in starting a venture. Would you please share your thoughts with us?
Yeah, thank you so much. Apologize for all my technical difficulties today. Pitfalls in starting a venture will primarily be not being clear on the problem that you want to solve. The number one component of a viable business is understanding, having clarity about the problem you're going to solve and how you're going to solve that problem. So if you're very strategic in light of how you're going to solve your problem, and you understand the marketplace and what markets you're going to target, who you're going to target, who's going to be your customer, whose problem you're going to solve, and how long can you solve it. Those are the key things to having a successful venture, from Amazon to Microsoft to Dell Computers. There were very, very specific problems that these large corporations solved, and they had a niche and target market in which they would solve those problems for. And if you have that as a premise, as your foundation, you'll be very successful in any venture that you start.
Thank you so much for your responses. And because we're just having you here, so I will just go on the next question for you, if you don't mind. And we had discussed a little bit about difficulties that entrepreneurs can encounter in the beginning. Anything that you would like to share with us with that regard?
As it relates to difficulties that entrepreneurs will see, there are many things we could talk about, but the top two will be acceleration of customer base and cash flow. So how fast can you build up your customer base, and do you have enough cash reserves to make it until you can build up your customer base? And so what I recommend any entrepreneur before they start a venture is to have at least 8 to 16 months worth of saved income that they can live off of while they begin the process of starting any type of new venture. And you have a very, very targeted marketing strategy about your customer base and how you can capture customers quickly. Because if you can't capture customers quickly, then your cash reserves will run out, and that will put you out of business. So those are the things that I've seen personally in terms of starting a venture and things surrounding that.
All right, and this question is for everyone. And Charles, would you please do me the honor of responding first? And what is your favorite book, and which has inspires you the most?
So actually, my favorite book that I like to read many, many times over and over again is a book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Week. And so it's all surrounding efficiencies and outsourcing your life. And being efficient doing multiple things and building a team of support. That would be my favorite book.
Very good. Thank you so much. Miss Jones, what is your favorite book?
So I'm going to be very transparent, right? I'm horrible when it comes to reading books. I am an article reader. So I'm going to stay authentic to who I am. I've read many books, but I'll tell you some of my most favorite articles. I have a routine in the morning. I get my Wall Street Journal. I get my Harvard Business Review. And I receive some of, I love subscribing to Black-owned business articles, companies such as Essence, etc. And I read through those articles, and I get my Wharton review as well. I read through those articles. So what my advice, instead of focusing on a book, is we have to be a student of learning. So figure out what works for you. I will fall asleep on a book, right? I read many contracts. I will fall asleep. If reading articles and the cliff notes of those work for you in understanding how to apply that to your everyday life, adopt what works for you and what inspires you, and then make that your everyday thought process for learning. So that's my advice for the team.
Thank you so much. I enjoy you. I do. And Mr. Ndong, what can you tell us about a book or an article that you've read recently or a long time that you truly enjoy?
I mean, I read a lot of articles, but there is a book that I always recommend to a lot of people. I read a long time ago. I read it in different languages, and it's Things Fall Apart from Chinua Achebe. It reminds me that as African, we have to fight, and probably we will have to fight until the end. Doesn't matter which status we reach, doesn't matter how far we go, we have to keep fighting. Of course, I don't want to end up like Okonko, because he was stubborn, but, we have to fight but be smart, because we still need to survive. So it's a book I would recommend to anybody.
He's indeed a great author. I remember him from when I was in college. It was a must. Thank you so much for the referral. And Roger, what can you tell us about books? Which one do you like specifically? We cannot hear you, Roger. You are on mute. You're on mute, Roger.
You're on mute.
I'm sorry. So I was saying that I have several because I love reading, I love books. But my top three would be How to Make Friends by Dale Carnegie. When you hear the title, you might think it's just going to teach you about about how to make friends like you and I, but it has nothing to do with that. So it's pretty much giving the tools to the leader, the manager, the entrepreneur, the one on top of the company, to be able to lead the company, lead the people that you're leading by inspiring them. by bringing them to do what they have to do without having to use oppression. So it's a very important book, and I would recommend it to any youth that's listening to us right now. The second one would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's a book that I like. I've read it several times, I think 3 times now. And I would also recommend that one. And the last one, for those who know me, I love politics. So I love The Prince by Nicolas Machiavelli. I've read it several times as well. So those are my top 3. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing the books. They're really important because what education is, a part of the education is done by reading, and it's pretty important. I was looking for the question from the audience. I'm not confident that I saw it, and one of the, I guess one of our listeners had a question. I was looking for it.
It says, to all speakers, what advice would you give to individuals who have great business ideas and concepts, but are afraid of sharing the ideas with others?
Thank you, Danielle. I was looking everywhere. It was right there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I get the question. Danielle, would you please give some thoughts?
Sure. So a great question, and I certainly want you to have that type of thought process that, you know, everyone doesn't need to know your idea for your business, and not just because the fearing that they would steal the idea, right? Because everybody doesn't need to know your creativity and your inner thoughts because they won't understand. And a lot of times we share with the wrong people. And when we share that information with the wrong people, they end up discouraging us from completing the vision that we should, right? So that's the first thing that I want to say. The second is around IP, so intellectual property. So this piece is very huge, right? And when you have an idea, when we create that business plan, the next first thing that we should be doing is identifying what is the intellectual property that we can have that is associated with our business. So what trademarks and what patents, right, are associated with the idea. So you want to make sure that you quickly go into a relationship with an attorney that can help you establish that information. So that piece, when we talk about team again, it's so important for you to have a very good attorney on your team so that you can get that intellectual property established. And then one other thing, again, from a transparency standpoint, is something that we should do. When you are sharing these ideas with people, there's an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, right? You can pull a simple template off of the internet. You're creating that. An NDA is only as good as the paper that it's on, right? People will be dishonest. So you want to make sure that, again, you're the people that you're trusting and you're having that conversation with, there is a relationship of trust there that is established where you don't have to look at any type of legal action moving forward. That's my advice.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That is quite an important questions, and your answers are pretty thorough. And I'm looking for another question from the audience if we have any. And seems like no. And we've reached almost the end of our conference, and no more questions. All right. So I'd like for Danielle and Roger, please give your closing statements, closing remarks. And would you please start, Roger?
Thank you all. Thanks everyone for attending. I hope that everybody has learned a lot. I am truly honored and I feel blessed to be part of this panel, to be one of the co-hosts, and to be able to bring all these amazing speakers who have shared knowledge and a lot of information that I think will be very helpful to the youth all over the world, all around the world. To all the youth in Africa, just know that Power Stand for Africa is your organization. It's not my organization. It's not our organization. We, the people in the panel, is everybody's organization. So we're calling on everybody to come join in so we can work together hand to hand, help each other, empower each other, support each other's businesses, and rise together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Yeah, and I will end with saying this is such a beautiful example of starting and a beautiful example of collaboration, right? There's a lot of things that could have prevented us from doing a virtual conference for our youth vision for 2030. But we pressed on and we were able to pivot the plan. And I am so proud to partner with Stand for Africa. I'm so proud to partner with all the panelists, and it makes my heart warm to see all the comments and people that are joining from so many countries, because we have a heart for uniting everyone. That's what Stand for Africa is. That's what this mission is all about. And we have a heart for making sure the youth are better than all of us, right? Because that's what's going to propel our country forward. So for the person that asked about starting, Stand for Africa and the collaboration with Power Hands and Power to Give is an example of starting, and you're witnessing something that is going to be great and is going to impact your lives and impact many communities and regions around the world. So thank you so much for letting me be on your team and being a part of this.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for making it this long. And I'll thank you all of Danielle, Boniface, Roger, and every other panelist who made it today for our conference. And we'll be looking forward to doing some more. And let's all stand for Africa. Bye-bye now.